The Sharks take on the defending Stanley Cup champions, and the Florida Panthers showed why they're the defending Stanley Cup champions. Okay. Well, wasn't pretty, but there are some good things to talk about, I guess. You know, Mackenzie Blackwood being a wall, kind of. We'll break this one down, and at least we didn't get shut out. Right now, here on Teal Town After Dark. Good evening, everyone. It is December 7th, 2024. The Sharks lose to the Florida Panthers 3-1. Waka Waka. That's for all of you who remember Randy Moeller on their Panthers radio side. Just look up on YouTube after the show. Welcome to Teal Town After Dark. This is your live interactive Sharks post game. We do this after every game, so if you want to be part of the show, chat with us and fellow hockey fans all over the world and in Sharks territory on the YouTube page or the app. Of course, chat with us in the socials as well. We gift the games on Twitter. It's still Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky, and find everything at tealtownusa.com. And hey, if you want to support the show, by all means, hit us up at Venmo at tealtownusa, or if you're watching us live right now, check us out on the Super Chat donation. And I say it's an Eric and Eriks show. We spell our name the right way. Landi, what's up, bud?
Hey, man, what's up? It is good to see you. And you know what? You know what's not up right now? The state of Florida.
Wow, that I was absolutely thinking you were going in a different direction with that, but okay.
No, I'm just saying as far as geographically, they're not in the up position. And also just it's tough playing hockey there.
It's tough playing hockey against, two teams that have been in the last 4 Stanley Cup finals. Or last 5, excuse me. I mean, Tampa, yeah, they've done their thing. They've gotten their cookies. They know how to dictate the game. Florida's learned that in the last couple of years under Paul Maurice. And that's where I think the Sharks are wanting to be very, very soon.
Yeah, no, I mean, you hope that the pieces that the team has gotten so far will add up to, one of the 2 Florida teams. You kind of look at the blueprint for success, and you have a good two-way centerman in Barkov that kind of anchors the top 6 grouping, and then you have, a strong winger in Tkachuk that again complements that top 6. So right. You think about the Sharks. So who would their equivalent to a Sasha Barkov be? And of course that's Mackey. And then of course on the as far as who you would want to be a little bit more of a skilled winger or whatever, I guess it's kind of shaping up to be Will Smith, but depending on where he's going to be. If he's going to be a center or a winger going forward. But, I think that there's some good pieces there. Or you think about a guy like Zetterlund, who, has got a little bit more of the sandpaper in his game. And, it sucks that Zetterlund isn't at full strength yet, because it would be interesting to see him and Tkachuk kind of go at it when they are both at 100%. And you'd like to see what the nastiness factor looks like. But again, overall, I mean, today's game, I felt that the team kind of just, they looked shell-shocked when they started the game. I think carried over a lot of the insecurities or a lot of the mistakes that had plagued their game in Tampa. They looked tentative. They didn't look explosive through the neutral zone this afternoon. And, it makes sense, because I think they're probably playing a little bit more conservative, a little less run and gun, considering what happened against Tampa. But, this afternoon's tilt, I mean, it looked like a little bit of a neutered Sharks team, so to speak. You know what I mean? It lacked bite, and it lacked a lot of pressure in the offensive zone in the very beginning of the game. And, I think we'll get into the game here in a second, but, if you don't start on time in the NHL and you don't start with a good attacking position or start with enough motivation out of the gate to match the intensity of the home team, especially being the Stanley Cup winner, I mean, you get results like that. That happens. So,
But at the same time, though, I mean, yes, we were all excited about a 3-game winning streak, and for it to go into Florida, if they were to extend that, that would have been great. But I think we all kind of knew this was coming. That there's going to be a sense of reality. They're going to get back. They're going to be back into the loss column. So all those who were complaining about, oh, you guys are celebrating, there goes our top 10 pick. Calm down. That's what I'm trying to say. It's all.
I think it would have been a better look, Puckguy, though, had the team lost, I think, a little bit more in a little bit more of a
More than 8-1. Come on, Landi.
respectable fashion. Yeah, no. I mean, look, and I think look, John Cooper gave credit to the team after they played. I mean, they said that the team played a real tough game against them, and
Yeah.
they're interested to see kind of what the team's going to look like going forward. But I think yes, you're going to lose some games, but it's the way in which you lose them, and we hadn't seen a loss like that in a while.
Mhm.
And I think it was really demoralizing. And I think again, all things being considered, had they maybe lost like a 3-2 game in that game and gone into the Panthers, I mean, I think that this game this afternoon would have been more competitive. And I really do think that a lot of that momentum that was zapped from that Tampa game, I think reared its ugly head to this afternoon.
Well, it doesn't help that you allow a goal 23 seconds in. As we get to the recap of this game, nice mug, by the way, goes with your shirt and the mustache. 23 seconds in, Matthew Tkachuk scores, had a little run in with Blackwood behind the net, all kinds of helter skelter skating around, and he bats it in. I mean, nice tip of the puck there. But that's what Matthew Tkachuk is there for. I mean, he looks absolutely, great in there, and that made it 1-0, Florida early, and it just it dictated the play for the rest of the period, and let's be honest, dictated the play of the rest of the game for that matter too, Landi.
Oh, I mean, look, when you've got a potential Hart candidate year in year out playing probably at the peak of his game right now, considering the amount of points that he's got, he's just locked in the zone. And when you got a player who excels with talent, is able to get his nose dirty in front of the goal, and you combine that with a unique hand-eye coordination skill set, because let's not kid ourselves here. Tkachuk is not only just a plug. I mean, this kid is skilled. So
Right.
when you add that total package together, you get those types of plays in front of the net where he's going to be a bull, but he's also going to show you, hey, I can bat the puck out of the air and pop it right in the net, and I can score on you however you want. You want to go toe to toe, and you want to skate with piss and vinegar in your game. I'll play that game. If you want to be a speedster like a McKinnon or a McDavid, he'll play that game too. And if he is not able to match in the skill department, he has this really uncanny ability to kind of get underneath the skin of the other player to negate the skill that the other player has. And you see teams just totally have to game plan around him at any time that he touches the ice, because he's that much of a difference maker. So
Yeah.
again, when you've got that kind of a player on your team, I think it really does kind of pull everybody else into the deep end. And I think, he's the motor for that team, and certainly showed it. And when you get the motor running early, it's all downhill from there, man.
Or you're just born to be wild, as you say from the lyrics. Okay. Sorry. So that would be the scoring in the first period. I mean, you definitely had, I mean, I have to mention it because, of the penalties, but, Florida has the hella dudes. Shalina, we love you. So to, 1-0. I mean, 14-6 the shots. I mean, it just didn't even seem that close from what I saw. And then the second period happened, and it got a little worse. Matthew Kachuk scores about midway through the second period on a backhand shot to make it 2-0. But let's give the flowers to Mackenzie Blackwood. This should have been at least an 8-1 route. Again, because and I'll credit Jeff Adams, and I'll also credit Sharks president Jonathan Becker with the stat of Mackenzie Blackwood with 50 saves on 53 shots. The last time that happened was in February 2010 with Evgeny Nabokov. I mean, he had some nice saves, Landy, in this one, especially going cross ice to keep the Sharks in this game, dude. I mean, huge stick taps to your tendy there.
Yeah. I mean, look, you've got a guy who is keeping the team in in the game and really just allowing the team to make the mistakes that a young team is going to make in front of him. I it's tough because in that second period they just got caved in on, and so you are leaving him out to dry, and it really sucks because he is giving everything that he's got. And nights like tonight kind of show you where the deficiencies in the back end still are. Again, I think Cody Ceci tonight for me had a really, really tough game. I mean, he was not great, and Kachuk just kind of feasted alive on him. I also thought that Liljegren, while good in the offensive zone, was a mess in the defensive zone. And I think as a whole, there just wasn't a lot of defensive cohesion that allowed for Mackenzie's game to I mean, yeah, Mackenzie kept them in the game, but their play didn't allow for them to like build any type of sustained pressure,
Right.
in the game. And that to me is kind of the crime to Mackenzie, right? I mean, yeah, you will get times where you'll get caved in, and you'll get times where you'll have to play a little bit more of a defensive style, and that's just kind of the ebbs and flows of the game. But you want to see at least shots directed towards the net, or at least maybe spans of 2 to 3 good shifts compacted upon each other within the offensive zone to kind of alleviate the pressure. And tonight you didn't see any of that. It was just under siege from the get-go.
Yeah, and didn't let up. I mean, you had 14, 20, 6, 19 shots. I mean, it's just incredible what that they threw on Blackwood. And I mean, yeah, 13. Well, they changed it to 13 in the first period, 20 and 20 in the second and third. 53 shots. Defensively, you can't have that. I mean, yes, Blackwood bailed your butt out, but I mean, you got to be defensively sound. But at the same time, we've seen this before, Landy, where it's just like, and it's just a frustration of proportions, but stick taps to your goaltender who bailed your butt out in that case. And speaking of Matthew Kachuk, Felix saying, Puckguy and Landi, do you see similarities between Marchand and Matthew Kachuk? Really curious on your thoughts. They're both pest and also very skilled. Maybe Marchand has let off the pest label a little bit, Scotch, in recent years, but still, I would say yes. But yeah, I agree with you in the last part, Felix, because I think Marchand's now needing to be the helpful and the goal scorer of that and such. So, let's say you.
Yeah, I mean, I can see where you get that, but I think that Marchand is inherently more dirty. And I'll say this because, with Brady Kachuk, yeah, he will he'll give you stinky glove, he'll, play a physical game against you, he'll have antics or whatever, he'll chirp you. But do I ever like get concerned when he's coming in to make a check, like he'll stick out his foot to like to intentionally trip somebody or intentionally like hurt a knee or like a knee on knee, or will he slew foot or do things like that? No, I think that he has, and I think his dad, his dad was like that. Father Kachuk
Mhm.
was Keith was
Relentless. I
a
mean, he was a scorer.
relentless, but still had the code of honor, right? They still,
Right.
right? Still very much of that old school. So to me, Marchand is a guy that will take any advantage upon you, kind of like a Ian LaPierre, or a guy in which he'll use any advantage upon you, whether that is going to be a legal or illegal type of move.
Right.
And so I think that there's a little bit of a difference there insofar as being a pest versus being just a douche.
Yes. Yes.
So Brady would be what I would consider a pest, and he's one of those guys that you'd want on your team. But Marchand, yeah, I do. There is a certain
Well,
place in
let's
the
go
box
ahead.
for him.
Yeah, no. I mean, let's be honest with the here. They're both pests. Both can score. Both can contribute in numerous ways, and both have a Stanley Cup ring. So, quick little sidetrack as the Barracuda game is about to get underway soon. A guy and his dogs. Is this similar to a boy and his team? But either way, thanks for chiming in. Muskie not on U.S. Junior is not a good sign. Isn't Musty injured? Yes, that's part of it. Is that he had a broken hand, but he was a holdout in Sudbury. He was lighting it up. I think he had like 20 points in 11 games for the Sudbury Wolves. Although yesterday they were the Sudbury Blueberry Bulldogs. Shorzy reference there, but went back and was playing very, very well, and had been playing well but didn't show up. So went back and he's fine, but yeah, he's injured right now, so he's gonna miss the World Juniors, and most likely, I think he's gonna be getting past the OHL trade deadline without moving onward. So we'll see on what happens there. If there's any updates from Sudbury about Musty down the road. So to finish up everything in the third period, excuse me, let me get back because I thought Barkov scored in the third. Pardon me. About 3 minutes later, after Machuk, wow. After Matthew Kachuk made it 2-0, Barkov, who's always been a big part of my fantasy hockey team, scores a power play goal. Reinhart and Verhage with the assists to make it 3-0. That really put the thing out of reach there. And the Sharks weren't mustering a whole lot of offense out of that. And it wasn't until, a minute and a half left in the third period that the Sharks would get on the board after taking penalty after penalty after penalty in the third period. And kudos to the Panthers. They knew what to do against this team. You had Ferraro and Sam Bennett getting into a fight after Delandria takes a big hit from Sam Bennett. They gave an unsportsmanlike conduct to Ferraro for that, so that gave them the power play there. That ended up being the goal, or not being the goal, but kind of put them in there. But then, Mikko Hokola would take a penalty. Aaron Ekblad would take a penalty. And just seconds after, Sharks couldn't do anything on the power play at all, and they end up going 1 for 7 on the power play. You're getting those chances, Landy, and you gotta bury them. And here, in fact, I think I saw Celebrini got benched a little bit more. Part of his
development plan.
Yeah, I mean, we'll call
Look,
it that.
I look. We'll talk about the power play for a second. 1 for 7 is just pathetic. You've got to at least get a couple of goals if you're awarded 7 power plays. And look, I mean, yes, the team is down Will Smith, but there's enough talent on there that they should be executing at a higher clip than what they're at now. And not to mention, not only was it just 7 power plays, but it was the actual quality of the power plays themselves
Yeah.
were just lackluster. And you saw that that the Panthers were pressuring every time, that the Sharks got the puck within the offensive zone. The penalty killers did a really good job for the Panthers because they immediately pressured the Sharks and couldn't, didn't allow the Sharks to get set up and kind of start their game. So kudos to the Panthers for good PK, but man, the Sharks, they got to do better. They got to do better when you're given those type of opportunities, and they weren't able to execute. And I think that's part of the reason why the score was the way it was at the end of the game, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, you did get the power play goal from Toffoli with about a minute and a half left. Nice to get that, and Toffoli's starting to get on a little bit of a heater now. A couple of goals on this road trip, but I mean, you had a power play goal in Washington. You went 0-4 in Tampa. I'm trying to pull up what they did against the Kraken. I want to say they had a power play goal, on the where's this? I'm sorry to do this on the air. God,
Well,
NHL,
I
please
think
be
the key, the key, I
oh
think
for
that
one. So I mean, they've had 2 power play goals in 11 chances
yeah,
or
yeah,
12 chances. Excuse me.
yeah. So again, I mean, not bad, but you want that power play to be something that's going to strike fear in the other team so that they don't take those penalties. And right now, the power play is not that for the Sharks. So again, I think partly, it's a young team and there's going to be some growing pains there. But I also think that the team now needs to, now that it's tasted a little bit of success and also tasted a little bit of defeat, they need to kind of reevaluate now what worked, what worked in that last, 20, grouping of 20 games or the month of November, what
Right.
worked for them. Um, and then what has, kind of slipped in their game. And going forward, how can they continue to continue to put forward good efforts, but also have them be constructive efforts, right?
Right.
It's one thing to put a good effort in, but it's another thing, when you misplace your effort, so to speak. I mean, you look tonight, 50 shots on goal. It's just like that's not sustainable, and um, that's not going to be a recipe for success for the team.
Yeah.
So again, a little bit of a drawing board moment for the team, but it's young. That's why we have these moments, because again, you're learning from it, and the team now has seen pedigree of excellence, and you can kind of try to emulate. I think these teams here in Florida are good, good guideposts to emulate towards. And if anything, the team, I think the team is constructed some, I think it's got similar pieces, a young core, like the Panthers do, and some pieces that are similar in
Mhm.
skill set. So a game that they can definitely try to emulate going forward, and
Yeah.
maybe bring that brand of hockey to to the Western Conference
Yep.
and to the Pacific in general.
Yep. Yep. Agree. I mean, again, it's a teachable moment. But eventually it will need to be, you know, a lot better. I mean, Ingo, almost feels like a win today. Need a guy and his dogs. Need a lockdown guy next to Lily. Yeah, I agree. It'd be really nice. Lily is more of an offensive type D-man. He needs to pair with somebody that needs to be decent. Yeah, and they're coming. This isn't done yet, gang. Is Faro going to be with this team? Probably. Like I said, he is the pseudo captain of this club. That's nothing about it. I know Ricky, you were saying, these last two games have shown me why Toronto didn't like Lily. If his opponent is a better skater than him, he basically does nothing. He has no B game, and that's the thing. You got to try to find new things. You need to find a development game in it.
I think also, he's also a young player too. So let's not forget that Liljegren is still learning the game from the defensive perspective. What is he, 25, 26? So, a defenseman, you're not reaching your peak till 27, 28 anyways. So there's still some development and some growth there.
But
I'm not too concerned with his game. But yeah, I think having a little bit more of a stable D-man with him would be a good thing. I wonder, like a guy like Muka Madulin, when he gets, when he's ready. He's not ready yet, but I wonder about a guy like that, who you would pair with Liljegren, where he can skate in and around his own end, but he's more of a defense first guy,
right,
and can make a good up pass, and will really just let Liljegren cook back there.
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of time before these guys really get on full flight. We saw a preview of it in that 3-game winning streak, but we're not quite there yet. So, the Sharks lose this one 3-1. They drop their second in a row. They go 0-4 in Florida. They'll head up to Carolina now on Tuesday. Get some rest for that matter too. I mean, this is a grueling road, and they played a lot of games too, for that matter, Landy.
Yep, yeah, the most road games, in the NHL up to this point. So, yeah, and Ricky, quickly, I mean, Lily isn't a prospect because the statistical peak for a player is between 24 and 27, but that's for a forward, right? So, again, look, I think we could all remember, Nicholas Lidstrom, where his peak was, and how long it took him to get there. Yeah, I think he started off the gate really good, but he was winning Norris's in his 27, 28, 29, 30 years, right? I mean, that's you think about that, or think about a guy like Chris Chelios, or think about I mean, just look at Sharks players. Dan Boyle, look how long it took him for his game to finally come into pedigree. I mean, look at a guy like Douglas Murray. I mean, another guy that took a little bit.
And he was thrown right in once he got traded or once Joe Thornton got traded, and he had to come up and play right away. So,
right,
it might be learning by fire, but the desire. I mean, but
yeah,
it varies on how he fits in on this team. He's had decent moments. This week he's had a little rough, but that's expected with this team.
Exactly. And when you have the cast around him that he's got, with the deficiencies that they have, makes sense.
Yeah.
I think makes sense. I think we want more and better. I think better focused efforts. The effort is there, and I think that he still has the upside from the trade, as far as getting that new scenery upside. But again, I think, like any player, you just got to refine your game a little bit. And again, this team is really young, so we'll see what they do to adapt, and see if they can learn from these CG moments.
Yeah, and that's the thing. You saw what you're going to your desire to be coming up in these two Florida teams. you can only hope that you learn from the teachable moments, like Jimmy Chomps Teal said. Can't wait for these. Well, I know you meant teachable there moments and moral victories to come up on the up and up. You wait for those 8-1 losses to then become 3-1 losses, and then they become a 4-3 win. It's some stuff like that. So so that's that.
It's not the losses right now. It's not the number of losses, but it's about how you lose, and you want to lose with good habits, and being losing like in like a 3-2 effort, or 4-5 effort, or what have you, but playing a good sound game and making sure that you leave everything on the ice and following a good game plan. And I think definitely the game against Tampa didn't necessarily follow the game plan. And I think tonight was just showing the caliber of team that's, again, a Stanley Cup winner, could challenge for the Stanley Cup this year, and versus a team in the cellar.
Yeah.
3-1. Not a bad night, all things considered.
Yeah. I mean, Blackwood's still on his head. Defense and offense need to get their crap together for sure. Jimmy Chomps Teal asking, who's on my reverse retro Puckguy? I have a blank one, but we'll be putting Banker 62 on it. Fair. You do what you can do on your jerseys. This is
That's
Jasper.
A choice.
That's a choice. This is a Jasper Weatherby team issued reverse retro. So a quick fashion pose here. Hopefully that's showing up nicely. Hopefully, maybe. So there's that for you. As we have been talking, the Barracuda are underway. They have not tossed any teddy bears just yet. About a little under 11 minutes to go in the first period. No score between the CUDA and the Coachella Valley Firebirds. Kind of the team that we hope the CUDA can be emulating in the near future. But come on, and I'm loving the jerseys. I don't know if you saw them, Landy. They have a Santa hat wearing teddy bear biting the hockey stick instead of the CUDA. I love it.
Yes, I saw that one. It was very cute.
and the cream color is absolutely awesome. So yes. with that, so we'll wrap things up here. In case you missed anything, or you want to watch this again, check us out on tealtownusa.com or your favorite podcatcher, whether it's Apple, YouTube Music, YouTube itself, Spotify, SoundCloud, TuneIn, iHeart, Odyssey. Of course, if you're watching us on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment after the show. Hit that like button. Whatever you can do, it does help us out immensely. So appreciate each and every one of you coming on. Of course, this is a Saturday night game. So Sunday night, Pucknologist will recap the week that was in Sharks hockey with AJ and Ian. That'll be at 7 p.m. Pacific right here on this YouTube channel. They will always have things to say. If they didn't, I'd be very scared about the world.
Yeah, when news breaks, they fix it.
Yes, with alien tape and super glue, Landy, my fellow Eric, who spells the K with the right way. Your final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Let's get back in the W column. I'd like to see another another low scoring game, and let's keep the shots down to like 30, guys. I don't think you should necessarily be putting your goaltender in a shooting gallery every evening. But that's just me, and I've only watched the sport for 20 plus years, but whatever. Anyways, you could use my first name and last name across all the social media garbage. That's Erik, ERIK LANDI. And as far as final thoughts go, let's see if we can't get the team back in that win column again and get back into some better habits. Again, I just want to see the team continue with the good habits and have the kiddos continue to develop in a good environment. So that's my final thoughts.
Yep. You get Carolina on Tuesday. You get to see our good buddy Brent Burns. We'll see what happens there. His contract's coming off the books, folks. Let's just get excited about that a little bit, okay? And then of course St. Louis on Thursday. So Sunday night puck knowledge is 7 p.m. right here, and then we'll be back with you following Tuesday against Carolina, Thursday against St. Louis, and our first after dark of the regular season for the Sharks and I take that back. My apologies. The first time that the Utah Hockey Club will be in San Jose for the regular season on Saturday night for the 10th anniversary of Holiday Sweater. If that doesn't make you feel old, I don't know what could. 10 years, Landy. What the hell happened?
I have no idea.
Jeff Odgers. Oh, miss Jeff Odgers. One day I'll tell a story about my mom and Jeff Odgers in the penalty box, but leave you tease for that. So until then, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep it real, keep it teal, keep it real, Teal. Have a great night, everyone. Pucknology is Sunday, 7 p.m., and then we'll be back here Tuesday following Carolina and the Sharks.